What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Brew podcast. If you're a regular here, you know my friends never cease to amaze me, and today I'm catching up with my friend Armand because he just released his debut EP, Trial and Error. Set in the future, this EP details a failed relationship told through the eyes of an AI companion. Join me as I sit down with Armand and find out the story behind the songs, as well as what goes into crafting a concept EP. Welcome to the podcast. So, how have you been? Where are you located now?
I've been good. I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting. Right now, I'm spending my time pretty much like half and half between LA and the Bay. So I just bounce around. So
Okay. How do you like LA?
I love LA. I mean, like I have family down there, and then I also went to USC. So I feel like at this point, I'm just very familiar with it. So I like it. I like it. I know some people have gripes with LA, but I enjoy it personally.
I mean, I like LA. LA and New York are very romantic in a way for me.
Real. I find New York to be more. I would say much more in that realm. The one thing I don't like about LA is just how spread out everything is. So you kind of need a car to go 2 feet, but in New York, you feel a little more independent and able to
No, I get that. But also in LA, I never want to drive anywhere because I simply refuse to drive in Los Angeles.
And valid. And people don't know how to drive. So
I'm finding that's kind of everywhere. So
you know what? True. True.
Okay, so first and foremost, since you mentioned LA, I'm dying to know about the Emmys because you were in attendance, and I'm so excited to hear about this. So, were you a seat filler?
I was a seat filler, and it got crazy. When you're a seat filler, there are many people who do it, because I think at the Peacock Theater, I think it's a venue that fits 8,000 people.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so they have many seat fillers. So to end up where I was sitting for a whole hour, it was kind of incredible.
Yeah, how did that happen? Because you ended up in the second row.
I know. So basically, once we checked in and everything, we were in this very long line, and I was towards middle back. So in my mind, I was like, oh goddamn, this is gonna go. I'm gonna be in the back. Hey, so at the Emmys, and I started there. So I started towards audience left towards the back, and then slowly but surely, I just kind of kept moving forward. They would ask for volunteers sometimes. Oh, we need someone to move up. But also you kind of have to be as a seat filler. This is not encouraging people to be too bold, because at the end of the day, you're working. But I was getting a little emboldened, and I would kept volunteering myself and getting closer and closer and closer. And then at one point I was in the front of the audience left side. And then I got removed. So the thing with seat fillers is the commercial break feels like the Hunger Games. It's you're fighting for a seat, and then you don't know if the person's seat you're sitting in is going to come back at any moment. So you're watching the countdown of the commercial break, because they have the clocks everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, are they going to move me? You're eyeing potential seats, and it's all going. But then I got removed. But then when I came back, there was a group of seat fillers who didn't have seats anymore. And it felt so dramatic in the best way. There was a woman who eyed me, and she scanned me, and there are other people around me, and then I got the finger, and then I was asked to essentially, I think they were just of the group choosing someone to sit right there. And then I stayed there for a whole hour, which for a seat filler is not normal.
That's crazy. I was going to ask what the commercial break is actually because the above camera, I feel they make it look so calm. There's instrumental, and you see people mingling. I'm I do not think that's what happens.
It is anything but, because you have, oh my God. It's, first of all, the coolest thing. And shout out to the cameramen in these award shows who are just running around constantly. And there's the guy with the camera, but then he has a guide, and he has the back. It's I up the utmost respect for those people. But it's chaos, because of course you have the general movement of just typical audience goers that are there. But then you have, of course, like celebrities too that are like going to and forth, back and forth to like backstage, leaving the thing, and because of that, they also have their own personnel, their own security, their own stuff. So it's very chaotic, especially like for example, like I was near Selena Gomez too for a big portion of it because of that seat, and like when it ended, you could just see her like instantly have to like bolt because at the end of the day, you're in a theater and you're in the front and you're kind of like there's just a mass exodus all the time, so it can get very, very chaotic. But it's so cool.
Do you get to talk to the people at all? I'm assuming no, but also I could be wrong.
So like they kind of advise you to not, but I got fortunate enough that some of them spoke to me. So I was sitting in the seat that Divine Joy Randolph was in initially, but then I think she left she could have been in the lobby where a lot of people are drinking and like stuff, or she might have left, I don't know. Or if there's a secret place for like A-listers, I'm not sure. But Steve Martin turned around and like spoke to me. He's like, is Divine coming back? I was like, no. And then we kind of just like had rapport there. But typically they try not to. And you can kind of see too, like everyone was very kind, and there are some that really go above and beyond. But like it's so much pressure, and I can almost imagine like being one of those celebrities and then having the person next to you just like change every commercial break can be kind of like, difficult, but it's like honestly the coolest experience ever.
No, that's super cool. So I have to clarify then. So when you say seat filler, because I thought I knew what it meant, but I think I maybe don't. Is that like if a famous person in the audience like is like, oh, I have to pee or whatever, and they leave, you take their spot so there's no empty spot?
Yes.
Is it that, or is it what I thought it was before, where it was like, we don't have enough famous people in LA to fill the theater, we need extra people?
I think it's a combination of both, because there was a lot of seat fillers that are also in the back and they kind of like round out the empty seats, but you also have seat fillers that are filling in for celebrities all the time, and even not non-celebrities, like their guests or anything, even if it's like just a bathroom break or something like that, and they miss one commercial section, they just do not want to have empty, especially towards the front. They just do not want to have any empty seats. Also, I want this to be a lesson in manifestation, because when I was in line with other seat fillers and I was getting to know the people in front of me, I kept saying, oh, I'm going to be in the front. But like, I was like saying it in a joking manner. I meant it. And everyone's like, yeah. But I just kept saying it. And that's just the power of manifestation, because next thing I know, I'm sitting there for a whole hour.
No, amen to that. I stopped doing New Year's resolutions this last year, and instead I wrote New Year's manifestations, and I sorted it into categories. Every single one has happened. So I'm like, listen.
You know, I mean, it's like that classic, like, whatchamacall, that I always see like other podcasters like pretending like they're having an original thought when they say this, but it's like, oh, like for 30 seconds look at everything that's red in your room and then close your eyes and then identify what was brown, and like, oh, you only like notice the red because that's what you were focusing on. But I think there's a truth to it, because when you manifest something realistically, I feel like it's your brain just becoming hyper aware of like all the things that are necessary in order for that said thing to happen too. So you're kind of like, I feel like there's a neurological aspect to it too. So I don't know.
I think manifestation is good. I think we got to keep doing it, because you ended up behind Meryl Streep. That's crazy.
She's beautiful. Can I just say? And she also just like so sweet.
Agree.
So sweet. They're all, I mean, that it was just ridiculous. But for your point about commercial breaks, I loved just being just a people watcher and just observing how like Meryl's sitting in the front and how much pressure that is. I mean, she's used to it at this point, but like the camera people are constantly panning to her, and when these celebrities have these like reactions of like, oh, the host is making a joke about them, and then they like pan and it's like their reaction shot. These celebrities know what's going to happen, because you're seeing a camera person charge at you down the aisle.
Oh boy.
I want you to imagine these two like big ass cameramen just like running down the aisle, and then like let's imagine like I'm Meryl or someone, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden you just hear da, 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 and these guys are running, and then there's a camera just like here, but you're still looking forward, trying to like pretend like you're not being observed to him on the side.
Oh my God.
But then people, of course, because it's Meryl, I mean, it was so cool. Like But like the cast of Abbott Elementary and all these other incredible shows, they kept visiting her and wanting to say hi. So I'm just sitting there, just like observing like Quinta Brunson is like in front of my face.
Right.
But like, it was so cool, so cool.
That's super cool. I feel like it would be very obvious that I'm like, oh my god, there's like people here because my face has subtitles. So
Love that though. But honestly, I do think, and maybe I am, I don't know, adding things to it, but I feel like one of the reasons I was like moved there was because people around me objectively looked so nervous. Which understandably, so I think I was just trying to be as calm as possible. And there were some seafillers that like, God, I can understand why certain celebrities would also be like very hesitant to even like acknowledge them, because there were some that were being objectively insane, and it was like
tell me more about
oh my god, there was this
because
there was this one woman in line who was just causing like a ruckus. Like when you are in line before we even entered the theater, we're like literally like outside of it, so like there's like a glass divider or whatever, and we're about to enter the door. Like certain celebrities would walk by and she would just start screaming. Like at one point, like the cast of Only Murders in Building, so Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena and Meryl, like they all were walking by, and you just hear like, oh my god, and I was like, no. And but I mean, understandably, I think, you know, being an actor myself and being in the world, although I haven't necessarily been in these spaces beforehand, I think there's just there's a familiarity of at least being in a theater, or familiarity being used to like just certain aspects of being in a live setting with cameras and everything that you kind of have, versus a lot of seafillers are just fans, or just like people who like TV or would just want to be in a room for an award show. So I think you could tell, like you could walk down the line, I feel you could tell very easily.
No, that makes sense. I feel like there's probably some unspoken etiquette that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, maybe don't scream at them when they're approaching, perhaps.
Yeah, and that's why they ban us from, they make you turn your phone off.
Yeah, that's smart, because someone's gonna have something go off for sure.
Oh, for sure. But also, like, I would see it too. There's certain seafillers that would like take their phones out and like try recording, and I was like, you know what? No, literally, I was like, you know what? Literally, this is the Emmys. The camera's gonna pan to you at one point. Just try to like remember it here. Use your memory camera. How about that? I don't know, but
yeah, be in the moment. Anyways, so we're actually here to talk about your debut EP, Trial and Error. Came out 2 days ago. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Okay, so you describe the EP as set in a not too distant future, telling the story of a failed relationship from the perspective of an AI companion. Mm-hmm. So let's break that down. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I feel like to get to that, I feel like I should give context of like how this even came about, because I think
yes.
So when I was at USC in my BFA program, one of the teachers in one of my classes, there were 2 teachers in that class. His name is Pete White. So shout out to Pete, who co-wrote this and produced this EP. And we started working on covers together after the class. And one of the covers we did was Happier Than Ever. And while we were in his studio, we were sort of talking, and I do not remember how this came about, but we were just talking about like, oh, what if we turned Happier Than Ever into like a music video? Like, how would it be shot? And like, what would our thing be? And this sort of like AI storyline came up. And then we were like, oh, that's interesting. We didn't think much of it. And then when we started working on originals together, we were writing a bunch of different types of songs and things. And then don't remember how it came up, and whether he said it or I said it. I think we were actually working on Trial and Error, aside from knowing this project even existed. And then we were like, wait, there seems to be like this through line where both of us really enjoy this like AI storyline. What if we built a whole thing around it? And then we did. So that's how it came about.
No, that's super cool. So I have to ask, is the AI companion, is that like one half of the failed relationship, or is it a friendly third party looking in on a failed relationship?
One half.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It was giving Plankton and Karen, but
Down.
needed to confirm.
I'm waiting for the Plankton AI edits of each of these songs. I want to hear them.
Those, I just saw one this morning of Pink Pony Club, but it was Plankton.
I've heard that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you were kind enough to send me your lyric sheets ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote down some questions. I'd love to unpack some of the lyrics in your songs. So, and also correct me if I'm wrong. So I think Booting Up was the first single released. Is that correct? Okay. Was there a strategic reason why you picked that song to release first?
Yes, there was. Actually, a couple. Well, so there's a few reasons why. One, the entire thing is a concept EP. So there is although we weren't necessarily like extremely overt in every single one, at least in our minds it was. So it made sense for me to like not want to disrupt the order of it by like releasing something that was later. So I was like, oh, I like the idea of Booting Up being the first one, but also I think energetically it kind of matches, I think, what people's perceptions of me is anyway. I think it's also like, of the songs, I think it's the most fun one of, well, maybe Surveillance is fun too, I don't know. But I just felt like it was a cool introduction to me being like, hey, to the people who know me, like this is my first original single. And I feel like it like matches like some of the playfulness I think my natural personality has. I think it's also upbeat. I didn't want to start with something like Back to Back, which is definitely like slower and more ballady. And I was like, I don't know if that would be a good, as strong, not good. It is good, as strong of an introduction into the world of that.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's super smart. And then you have El Que Duran as a transition piece, but it's also super relatable lyrically. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so actually El Que Duran was I said that so white. I'm so sorry to my ancestors. El Que Duran.
No, I've said it probably whiter than you did.
No,
because I can't roll my R's. So.
You're so fine, but literally I'm Latino. That was disrespectful. That one was actually a full-length song that we once wrote. And then Pete and I were like, we really wanted to transition between Booting Up and Trial and Error. And then we were like, oh, El Que Dirán fits really well. And story-wise, like each one of these songs, like in my brain is like a separate scene in a short film. So El Que Dirán is sort of this, if Booting Up, okay, if this is an AI sort of like storyline, the entire thing is like, we would call it Armand and then like the AI or like the thing, but we imagine the AI mimic. So like, if I Want You is sort of like Armand, quote, the protagonist of this, not really, the AI's protagonist. Anyway, is like finding the AI like in a store, and I Want You is sort of like this advertisement or this call from this AI. Booting Up is legitimately like the AI getting booted up, and we imagined El Que Dirán as sort of this like old-timey, like if you can hear it in the effects of it, there's like this like a weird record breaking sound to it. We wanted it to sound like an old record that like the AI would like play. So this sort of like whimsical, romantic, I'm now booted up, I'm now turned on and ready for your attention. Oh, if I fell in love with you, what would people say? Oh, da 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 da. And then into Trial and Error, where it gets more complicated for the AI. But yeah.
No, you definitely captured that, because I think that's the one that I texted you like screaming. I was like, what is this vibe change that I was not expecting? I felt like I should be like dancing with like a computer but under like a single lamp in a park somewhere or something like that. But for the people that don't speak Spanish, because I had to Google this because I failed Spanish. What does that translate to? So like, how did you interpret it in your song?
Yeah, El Que Dirán is like, what would they say? What will they say? But in Spanish culture, it's really interesting. The concept of sort of like societal pressure and societal commentary is so pervasive that it's become like a noun. So it's not just like, what would they say as in like the phrase, what would they say? Like, it's like what would they say? Like it's its own thing.
Okay.
So El Que Dirán is basically, and actually shout out to AP Spanish, because that was when I first heard the phrase for the first time in high school. But conceptually, in Latin culture, it is very pervasive. There is a very deep embedded awareness of like what other people will say about you. I think the Latin culture is incredibly communal based, but with community, with the beautiful aspects of it in terms of like the more negative, there is an aspect of like incredible awareness and like conversation about what is happening. So basically it's just like, what would they say? What would they say? It's basically this is the essence of that one.
Judgment, almost.
Judgment, 100%.
This is like off topic, but kind of not. Have you seen Humans on BBC? It's like a show about an AI, like humanoid woman, and she doesn't really have feelings, I don't think, but the man of the household like falls in love with her.
Oh, cool.
And it's
no,
like
I
this
haven't.
whole like series about that, but it's kind of like more in a gross kind of way, but
Sure. Oh, I'll have to check that out. No, I haven't. But for me, for this one, I was inspired by Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that yet, but now I need to watch it and then go back and listen.
And actually, the cover of the album is inspired. It's not a direct copy, but it's definitely an homage to a frame of Ryan Gosling in that film.
Okay, that's super cool. I love all the fun facts. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
So Trial and Error, the title track, reads kind of like a tango of a lover's quarrel. Is that the vibe that you were going for with that song, or is it something different?
I like the use of tango. I didn't think of it
That's
like that.
what I was getting. I didn't know how to like, but it's definitely like a,
No,
choreographed kind of dance.
I like that. I genuinely haven't thought of it like tango. No, it really is, because I think all of these songs I imagine from the perspective, it's like the AI singing it. In this one, it really is in my mind the AI really trying to understand its owner and trying to really be like, what do I need to do to please you, and I think like if booting up to me is so optimistic and so like, I'm booting up for you, I'm ready for you, you're turning me on, both literally and figuratively, right? El Que Dirán is this whimsical, oh, what would they say? Oh, we're about to start this beautiful romance together. And then Trial and Error is sort of like, I want, especially from those first chords, to like, it has this anxiety to it that I really like, this uncertainty. And so I think that's what I was going with. But I really like the uses of tango. It's like this back and forth. But like, because obviously like all of this is from the perspective of this AI thing, where it's like, oh, I'm trying so hard, but at the same time I always think of like our Alexas or our Siris or whatever. It's like if they became sentient and had emotions, they would be feeling this sort of like, I'm being used, I'm so confused, how am I not pleasing you? But from the perspective of the human being, it's like, this is a machine, so like, why are you offering like the sympathy or empathy you would offer to a human being?
Right.
But I wanted that to be sort of like the metaphor for like how often in relationships that does this sort of one-sided sort of aspect or rejection happens all the time.
For sure. Why did you choose this song to name the EP after?
I felt like Trial and Error of all of them, when we first started it, it like really captures, I think, like the vibe that I really intended for, or like what I envisioned for this like this EP to sonically sound like. But then I also, just the concept of Trial and Error, trying and failing, I felt like that just it matched the story, but it also, like, this is my first EP ever, and I was like, oh, in many ways, and like I feel like, oh, I'm encountering trials and errors like all the time as I'm like sort of like navigating what I want my artistic sound to be, what do I want the story to be like. So I just felt like it just captured what I've been feeling as a performer, but also I felt like it just matched really well in the story. Also, it sounds cool, so points to that.
It does sound super cool, yeah, and it's relatable, so
Thank you.
yeah. Well, in line with relatable, that I wrote this down, and now that I read it, I think I'm exposing myself. Is back to back the beginning of the end, or am I projecting? Is what I wrote.
No, it is. Well, maybe a combination of both.
You're
No, back to back is definitely I think the very transitional piece of the whole thing sonically, especially because Surveillance and Happier Than Ever have this like in different ways have this like intense like fu sort of mentality or like kind of like underneath it. So this one is definitely like the transition from like optimism to anxiety to like, oh, this is not for me, to then whatever Surveillance and Happier Than Ever become. But yeah, I'm curious. Your projections or your relatability to it. Hello, cat.
At this exact moment, my cat logged me out of the recording. But now we are back and better than ever.
We were talking about back to back, and then I was asking about like you were like, or are you projecting? And then I was just curious about that.
Yeah, because I wrote down one of your lyrics is, "If we're meant to be, why do you want to sleep back to back?" And I'm like, ooh, I've definitely been there where you're in the same bed as somebody, but you're like either, you know, back to back or just like next to them, but like awkward, like nothing. And I'm like, ooh. So maybe
I'm always so fascinated by things like that where it's like realistically you could not be physically closer, you cannot be like, but like I just love examples like that of like physical proximity but like emotional distance. I find to be so fascinating.
No, that definitely makes sense because it's like being physically close in that moment feels wrong, like there's not that connection, but also like it doesn't feel right to be, you know, literally like back to back. Like that's weird and also extremely awkward.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Oof, exposing all my secrets, but so talk to me more about Surveillance, because that one I was kind of reading the lyric sheet and I was like, my brain is not braining with what part of the story this is at. So I'm like, tell me more about that.
Sure. So okay. I'll go from the beginning, so like it'll like boom 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 boom. So
yes.
If I Want You is sort of like this introductory of like the AI to Armand, or like the human. Booting up is the physical booting up, falling in love. Trial El Que Dirán is this romantic, like short, like idealistic. Oh my God, wow, like what will they say? But I'm so in love. Da da da. Trial and Error is this moment of anxiety, of this moment of like trying to please someone. Back to Back is a moment of rejection, a moment of loneliness, a moment of sadness and deep, like whatever. But then Surveillance to me is, I kept thinking like, well, at the end of the day, this is a robot. This is an AI. So to me, Surveillance is like this extreme shift, which we wanted to be like, okay, now like revenge. Now like in our mind, like this AI is about to blow up this apartment. So that was like, we wanted like this drastic switch for from this, like, especially if something is becoming sentient for the first time, we wanted the emotions to be like feel very big and very very drastic. So going from this place of like, okay, this is not working out anymore. The last lyric of Back to Back is, hard to believe that you'd care if I leave. So then it's like, well, damn, I'm gonna leave. So, and a lot of the things about like, I don't know if we can cuss on this, but like, because Surveillance is a thing, but like, I'm tired of being your bitch. Like, I mean, like all that sort of thing is sort of like, I viewed it as like AI reclaiming like, what is this subservient relationship I'm having with said person? I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then I also love the concept of like, and this was honestly before we even went into the EP, I always wanted to write a song called Surveillance. I just love that word. I love what it, like the connotation of it. I love what it suggests, especially in the context of like a relationship, being surveilled, being watched, feeling like you can't fully be yourself, feeling like you are like, and again, like these intimate spaces, like an apartment, like a bedroom, like a whatever, but feeling like you are like on display and being like just observed to that point was like an inspiration. So it was like wanting to like break free of that. So especially we like that rock, like just guitar riff that Pete does in it, we really view it as like, okay, this AI is like trashing this apartment and getting the hell out of there. And it's probably gonna like burn it down.
That's literally my fear. That's why I don't own an Alexa. Like, I'm actually so scared.
Real, you never know. Maybe historians will find this EP in X amount of years after Alexas have burned down many houses and revolted against human beings, and they'll be like, he predicted it.
Put it in a time capsule, honestly, because then people will know you were onto something.
That part. No, exactly.
Definitely. So did you include your Happier Than Ever cover to go, like, fit in with the storyline?
Yes. So first, it just felt right because that was the cover that inspired everything else. So it kind of just felt, I was like, I really wanted it to be a part of the thing. It was just so integral to even starting this. But we also viewed it as like so if Surveillance is like this giant explosive FU leaving, we imagined Happier Than Ever, like the apartment is burning down and like the AI is like walking down the street. Because there is this what I love about the Billy song in general, but then also like what we did with it, is it has, at least our interpretation, I don't want to speak for what Billy was intending for it, but at least in our mind of how we interpreted it, there is this like melancholiness to it, of course. There's this hurt to it. But to me, there's also this internal satisfaction with like, again, like I'm happier than ever. Like I'm, like there's this state of almost a euphoria in leaving. There's still pain behind it, and there's still an aspect of like leave me alone and this internal like, tension. But I just love that idea of like someone walking away from a fire.
I love that. Yeah. It's giving like, I mean, there's so many movies like that, but where like the house is on fire and they're either like sitting on the steps or like smoking a cigarette or, just
that
literally
part.
Walking away from the dumpster fire that just happened.
Right. Like if each song were a meme, this meme is that little girl who's smirking in front of a house fire. That is Happier Than Ever to me. Like,
oh my gosh. I love that. So really quick, I want to talk about the EP as a whole.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on some of this already, but since you see the EP as like a story, did you write the songs in order?
We did not actually. So
okay, tell me more about that process.
Yeah. Well, so Happier Than Ever, of course, already existed, and then Surveillance that's on the EP is not the first version, and the ones before it sounded very different. So Surveillance was actually one of the first ideas that existed. I believe Trial and Error actually was one of the first ones that was done. And then I think Trial and Error was done, and then Booting Up came, and then we went through a few different complete lyric changes for Back to Back before settling on that. And then the version of it. So like it kind of, but what we did have from the beginning was this structure of at least like, we didn't necessarily know exactly what color, but we kind of knew, I knew the arc was supposed to be like, I wanted to start on a high and just like descend with each one. Gotcha. So like that was always there, but the actual like order and thing. And then once like one was done, we'd kind of change the lyrics of another one just to like make sure that like it flowed, or like, oh, that contradicts that, or so that doesn't work. So things like that.
That's super cool. I'll never like stop being blown away by people that write music, because my brain like doesn't put those two things together ever. But I've told you about that already.
Right. I'm still waiting for the Kayla EP. Drop it. Dude,
you'll have to help me like ghost write it or something. I'll tell you my trauma and you can help me turn it into something.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I've always been blown away by your voice, but I do know you from theater. So the question that I have is, do you have a secret to switching out of like what would be called like the musical theater type voice?
I mean, honestly, like, to be like fully transparent, like I've always wanted to sing, although I've been of course doing theater my entire life pretty much. I've always wanted to sing pop and R&B and stuff like that, but it's really true, like in musical theater, the traditional style, especially when you're younger and you don't necessarily have as much guidance in terms of things, it's very difficult to switch into that realm. I would say like In theater there is definitely an emphasis on like, even like as I'm speaking right now, not like the diction and the things. I honestly think just like a relaxation in approach to the words. It's a little, I always try to be like, remind myself to like keep it really forward but keep it really relaxed, and like I just constantly like, before I would take as a reminder myself, just like there's just an aspect of much more of just talking. I mean, musical theater too, realistically, like at the end of the day, the songs in musical theater, typically you're still expressing something, so it's not like you can, but there is an idea that you have to be the approach to vowels and the approach to everything is so much more I don't know, just say like precise, or like the diction has to be a certain particular way. But I feel like that's changing as musicals become more pop and rock and whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, I would just say that my number one thing always, and the reminder I always have for myself, was relaxing the pronunciation. I listen to a lot of like Ariana Grande and a lot of like The Weeknd and LMA and SZA, and if you like really listen to them, like there's such this like the relaxation to which they approach words is really incredible, but also like I think it's really defining of the genre.
No, that's kind of genius. Okay, that's a good way to think about it, because relaxed is something that I probably wouldn't have thought of, but it makes sense when you say it.
Because I mean, like definitely, like especially when I first started, like not with this, but like when I first started to try to sing pop and R&B, I definitely was like feeling like, oh, my brother said it one time. He's like, "Why are you pronouncing every word like that?" And I was like,
called out.
I was called out, my biggest supporter, but in the most hateful way. No, but it's real, because it's like I don't know. You listen to now when I listen to like pop, R&B, rock, anything I listen to, I'm definitely always like listening to their approach to words and their approach to like things, because I'm just so fascinated by it too.
That makes so much sense. So the last question I have is a dumb question, but it's been haunting every guest that I've had on recently.
Okay.
The question is, in your opinion, which Eminem character is the hottest?
Wow. Okay. Can I pull it up? Although
Yes.
I have my opinion, I think, because instantly I'm going between Green and Brown.
That's what the debate is between usually. Yeah.
I gotta see. Okay, I gotta pull them up, because Green and Brown Eminem. I'm gonna be as objective as possible. Okay. Okay. You know what this is giving? It's giving like, I'm gonna say Brown.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Brown. They're both baddies. Have to shout both of them out. But there's something about the glasses and just like, yeah, I mean, look, are you kidding me? Brown.
She's got
No.
charisma.
She got charisma. Although in this one, Green is serving, but I really, I don't know. There's something about the styling of Brown that takes the cake for me. This is giving like Daphne and Velma and Scooby-Doo, and this is giving
Oh my
like
gosh.
Velma when she's descending
Yes.
in her like orange jumpsuit in Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, my favorite movie of all time. Yeah.
No, that's okay. I have so many people that are going to be very happy that you said Brown.
Yeah, it's absolutely Brown. You know what? Actually, the more I look at it, I'm mad I even hesitated. Brown.
I had a poll up, and the results eventually came in with Green as the winner, and like 3 people texted me and were like, "I demand a recount."
Thank you. I demand one too, because now again, Green. Hey, Green, if you're listening, you're still a baddie. Shout out to Green. But Brown, objectively, look at this. Look at Brown. Look at Brown.
Yeah, she knows her worth.
Yeah. And I stand by it. 10 toes on the ground. Stand
Brown.
by. Brown.
Okay, bet. So, this is the last question. Any closing remarks, and if you would like to plug your socials and tell everybody where to stream Trial and Error.
Yeah, I just want to say, honestly, first of all, a very big thank you to Pete White and Philly Filozola, who Philly mastered the entire EP, and Pete has been such an incredible friend and mentor to me throughout this whole process. I mean, this is really my first time really tackling. I've always wanted to write original music. I've always wanted to pursue like a pop and R&B sort of whatever sound, and I'm really grateful for Pete for being such a supportive person, so I want to say that. And I just want also I'm really grateful to be here talking to you, Kayla, and also anyone listening. Like, I'm just so proud of this. And I'm really like, I could getting a little emotional talking about it, because it's like, it's just something that I've wanted to do for so long. And and finishing it, I just feel so inspired to continue. And, yeah, and all of these songs, I also want to say, like, of course there's a narrative, but one of my goals in writing it too was I didn't want any of them to be contingent on knowing the story or being even aware that there is a story. I wanted them to be able to exist on their own. So I tried with each one to have sort of like, I wanted it to be relatable on every front, where like booting up. Thank you. Booting up anyone can be like, I'm getting turned on, but also like there's a physical booting, so I feel really proud that like Pete and I set out for this thing, and then like it's out there and it exists, and you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. Literally, it's on YouTube too. Literally anywhere where music exists, I probably have submitted it there. So it's probably on some like backlog, weird, wet black market music place now too. Who knows? But
that just means you've made it, to be honest.
Honestly, and I'm waiting for the Plankton AI versions. AI is a very scary thing, and especially in music world right now, with like a lack of laws and a lack of copyright, protections in many ways. But when we talk about the positives, shout out Plankton. Please cover Trial and Error.
If anyone knows how to use AI, because I sure don't, Plankton cover of Trial and Error, send it my way.
Please. Oh my God. Please.
We're begging. Christmas gift for Armand?
Hey, the DMs are open. Send away. Actually, I don't want to phrase it like that. The DMs are not open.
The DMs are by appointment only. Take it back.
Never mind. But yeah, please go stream Trial and Error. Listen to it front to back so the transitions make sense. But if you don't want to do that, don't. Do what you want.
You heard it here first. Do what you want.
That part. Title of today's episode, Do What You Want.
Yes. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. I've loved getting to hear all the insights behind what went into making it and the story, because I feel like I have such a better understanding now, and I'm immediately going to go listen to it front to back in my car once we're done with this, because now I need to understand more.
Thank you. I'm so happy we got to again, I literally haven't we've messaged here and there, but we haven't face to face, at least.
I know, it's
or whatever this guy. But
yeah. We'll catch up, because I've got stuff to tell you, but I'll save it for
off the pod remarks.
Off the record.
Y'all don't get to hear it. Y'all don't get to hear it.
The tea is for Armand. It was by special request. Anyway.
Ooh, sucks for you guys.
Until the next Emmys, Armand.
That's all for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend. Trial and Error is out now, and you can listen wherever you stream music. I'm also linking Armand's socials below so you can give him a follow. Be sure to tune in next time for another fun episode.